Let me get over now to the topic that we've been talking about, which is this budget deficit and cutting the fiscal deficit. That is the task of the 12-member supercommittee on the deficit. And we have one of the members of that. They're set to meet this week, by the way, for the first time. Chris Van Hollen, Maryland Democrat, is joining us. Congressman Chris Van Hollen. Also joining us from Washington is Peter Cook, who, as you know, has been following the story from front to now. Is joining us as well from the Bureau. Congressman, thank you very much for joining us. As I mentioned, you're going to be meeting for the first time this week. What is on the top of your list to meet that $1.5 trillion goal to cut the deficit?
Well, you're right. We're going to be meeting tomorrow morning for the first time. There are two parts to the answer here. First, we've got to get the economy moving again. So we're very interested in hearing what the president has to say, because every day that the economy is stalled is a day that not only people are out of work, but it's a day where our deficit gets bigger. So I think that has to be part of any package. Second, a package has to have a balanced approach to the long-term deficit reduction. That's what every bipartisan commission, from Simpson-Bowles to Rivlin Domenici, has told us. So I hope we'll be ambitious on both fronts. I hope we'll do whatever we can to support the president's efforts and other congressional ideas to get the economy moving again, but also come up with an ambitious 10-year deficit reduction plan.
But, Congressman, I want to know, though, what is on the top of your list?
Well, what's on the top of my list is, again, making sure that we accomplish that goal, because we want to make sure that
we know that. We know that. But what programs are on the top of your list to get to this target goal?
Are you talking about in terms of reductions? I think that we need to look.
Yes.
I think that there are subsidies in the farm areas. I think that there are other programs where you've got room for cuts. On the Biden group, we identified a number of those areas, and I mentioned one, the farm subsidies. But I also think we need to look at areas in the corporate tax code and the other parts of the tax code where you've got certain kinds of deductions, and for example, in the corporate tax code, the oil and gas provisions that have been much talked about. Now, those are some examples, but I don't want to prejudge anything. I want to make sure that the whole idea here is to have people from both sides of the aisle come together and have a conversation.
I want to ask you about the president's speech. We're reporting that he's going to talk about $300 billion, a total jobs package that will include payroll tax cut extensions, infrastructure, as well as some aid to states and localities. My question to you is this a plan that you and the House Democratic leadership can support? Is this a plan that can pass?
Yes, I think it is a support. It's certainly a plan that we can support from the details that I know about it. We're going to have to work with our Republican colleagues to see how much of this we can get passed. I would hope that they would agree with us and with the president that we need to make that infrastructure investment. You've got 14% unemployment in the construction area. At the same time, you've got a lot of bridges that are failing. You've got a lot of schools that are crumbling. There's a lot we can do in the infrastructure area. With respect to payroll taxes and the holiday, that is something Republicans have supported in the past. Everybody has told us that businesses need customers. They need consumers who have a little more money, disposable income in their pockets. Extending and expanding the payroll tax holiday is a way to do that. So that's another area where I hope our Republican colleagues would come together and push with us to accomplish.
And Congressman, if they insist that this $300 billion be paid for with spending cuts in other areas in the short term, what happens then?
Well, the key is that it be paid for. But I think the important thing is that you look at this over a period of time. Both bipartisan commissions and the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Ben Bernanke, have all warned us about the costs of taking measures that would actually hurt a very fragile economy. You don't want to be doing the payroll tax holiday, to try and get the economy going on the one hand, and at the same time take actions that slow the economy down. So from a budget perspective, we need to look at the long term. It is very important that we put the budget on a long-term, sustainable fiscal path. The exact timing of those measures is something we're going to have to work out, but we would not want to do it in a way that hurt the very fragile economy.
Right, and job creation. Congressman, I want to just get back to the supercommittee, because certainly it is going to be an immense and difficult task for you and the other 11 members of this committee on finding those cuts to reduce the budget deficit. I was asking you before what's on the top of your list. What I want to know is entitlement spending, these entitlement programs, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Are those going to be on the table for this committee?
I think we're going to have a full discussion of all those areas. We can't limit ourselves to any one part of the budget. We're going to look at everything from the spending side to the revenue side. Let's take Medicare, for example. There are areas where we can modernize the Medicare system. Right now we have a fee-for-service system that rewards the volume of care. Every time you go to the doctor, every time you go to the hospital, they get paid. What we're looking for is ways to design the system to focus more on the quality of care, to try and incentivize these accountable care organizations. Improving the coordination of care for Medicare patients is a way that we can both save dollars and make sure people get better care. And there are a lot of good ideas out there. Some of them were started in the Affordable Care Act, but there's certainly more room there. So yes, I think we are going to take a look at that. Are we going to look at the proposals like the ones that the House Republicans put forward that would end the Medicare guarantee? That's certainly not something that a lot of us will support. Our colleagues, of course, are free to talk about that approach if they want to.
Is there anything in regards to these entitlement programs that is off the table for you?
No, all of this is part of a discussion. When we're talking about things like Social Security, it's important that we look at that to strengthen the Social Security system itself. I don't think we should be balancing the budget on the backs of Social Security beneficiaries. What we should be doing, though, is making sure that come the year 2037, that we're able to make sure that people can get their benefits. And that means we're going to have to look at different parts of that program to strengthen it and make sure that it's solvent in the future. Whether that becomes part of the work of the supercommittee at the end of the day or not, I don't know, but it's certainly something that I think we're going to talk about. We're going to have witnesses that talk about all these issues. They're going to be witnesses to talk about Medicare, Social Security, the revenue side of the equation, and the discretionary side of the budget.
Okay. Congressman, thank you very much. I appreciate it for your time. Congressman Van Hollen, also to Peter Cook in Washington.